Good afternoon. It's great to be in Andover today, and thank you for joining us as we celebrate another major milestone in the bipartisan Eisenhower Legacy Transportation Program, better known as IKE. Today, we're announcing $520 million worth of highway modernization and expansion projects moving into the construction pipeline. The governor will reveal that list of individual projects in just a minute. But first, I'd like to take just a couple minutes and remind us of why today is so important and how projects have gotten this far. Communities have been advocating for these projects for years. To make it into the development pipeline, these projects first had to gain regional support. They had to score high on engineering factors like safety and pavement. And for expansion projects, they had to rate high for potential economic development. These are good projects that serve communities and strengthen transportation systems across their regions. We wouldn't be able to move forward today with these projects without strong local and state partnerships. Thank you very much to each of these communities. Because for the expansion projects, they have to provide a local match. Among those great partners are the cities of Andover and Wichita, Butler and Sedgwick counties, who are all contributing to, spoiler alert, East Kellogg, that we're announcing a little bit later today. And I want to thank Andover for being our host. Now, I noticed that Andover's high school mascot is the Trojan. And in Roman mythology, Rome was said to have been founded by Trojan warriors. But there's another part to this Roman mythology that I think is really important and serves us well in really these unprecedented times in transportation. And I'm thinking about Janus, the Roman god of transitions and dualities. Janus is portrayed as this god that sees both forward and backward at the same time. And why that's really remarkable is that it helps speak to something that I think is hard but important right now. It's being able to hold two competing thoughts, two different things going on at the same time in your head. It's called Janus and thinking. So like Einstein, because he was brilliant, was able to think about an object in motion and at rest at the same time. And that's how he got to the general theory of relativity. He could think about two different things at the same time. And my goodness, we need some of that thinking right now. You've heard me talk about the power of and that's what we're doing today, is we're doing a lot of and thinking. So if you think about it, we see record numbers of travelers all across the state this summer and across the country because we have gotten housebound. We want to get out and travel and look around and be around. We crave to take some trips. We have some pent up energy from being homebound. But when we get out, it's really easy to feel overwhelmed, right? You go to a conference or something, you're like, oh, I'm glad to be home because I haven't been around people for so much. These are the same kinds of contradictory forces that we see in transportation too. Thanks to Governor Kelly's leadership and to strong bipartisan support from the legislature, transportation is fully funded for the first time in a decade. We are fortunate to have the resources that we need to address our infrastructure needs, but we're also seeing really high bid prices. So we have a responsibility to be good steward of taxpayer dollars. Those are your dollars, and we are going to be good stewards. It means just because we have money doesn't mean we need to spend that money. So all the projects that we are announcing today are scheduled to go to construction within the next 3 years. That's the plan. That's the commitment. However, if we see a big change, major spikes in construction costs, we may have to push out those letting schedules to make sure we're getting competitive prices. So we're prepared to pause and to accelerate depending on market trends. We are going to be cautiously aggressive, right? It is that weird foot on the gas, foot on the brake at the same time so we can manage your money well. We have major infrastructure needs in our state, and we can't put them off any longer. We have a responsibility to not only address the infrastructure needs today, but to position us for success in the future. Because today's projects aren't just for us, they're for future generations. And the good news is we have a transportation program that was built by Kansans called IKE, and it was informed by our past experiences, and it's built for the future. So instead of having a 10-year list of set projects that we have to follow no matter what happens in the market, we can move projects into the development pipeline. And then as we have money and market conditions allow, we can move them to construction. It gives us the flexibility to make sure we're not overstocking our construction and our development pipeline, but that we can move quickly and in a fairly nimble way to get to your projects. We can break or accelerate depending on what makes sense for Kansas at the time. And we're working with the construction industry to identify better ways to manage risk and ensure we're delivering projects as cost effectively as possible. So partnerships, those are the foundation of IKE, and it's because of you that we've been able to prepare ourselves to weather uncertainty. We have bipartisan support of leaders from communities, large and small. We're grateful that we have support at the federal level for additional resources. So that's why I'm confident as we move these 11 projects to the construction pipeline that we can deliver them. It doesn't mean that the road ahead is smooth, but we're not traveling it alone. Our success in delivering IKE isn't just about meeting this moment. We will be asked to meet many moments in the coming decade. And thanks to the foresight of Kansans who worked in 2018 and 2019 and then passed the program in 2020 and signed by the governor, we have created a transportation program that will not just allow us to meet the moment, but to seize opportunities. And we will do that together. Thank you. And now it's my honor to introduce our next speakers. But before I do, I want to just tell you one more thing. I want to mention one more time, thank you for the local match. That's one of the cornerstones of these expansion projects, is that everything works better when there's a little skin in the game from everyone. Thank you to the local leaders that stepped up and helped make sure that we would have some local match in these projects. So between the local contributions, which will allow us to advance these projects, and the progressive design build approach, first time we've used it in the state, we anticipate being able to let to construction in the next year this Kellogg project we're going to hear about, which is at least 2 years earlier than we could have done under typical processes. This is a great example of how we deliver more together, and the local leaders deserve a lot of credit for that. So please welcome me, join me in welcoming Andover City Council President Troy Tabor.
Thank you, everybody. I'll clarify a little bit. I'm the former president. It's only a one-year term, but that's okay. Secretary Lorenz did mention that it's interesting or it's challenging to hold two thoughts at the same time, but I really never have a problem if I'm running, figuring out that I need to rest as well at the same time. I'm just saying. It is exceptional times that we're in today, especially in Kansas. I almost feel like it's a blueprint for things that could be duplicated across the United States. We look at the way that we are working in bipartisan ways to create exceptional projects, to do exceptional things, to work together. It's not exactly unique, but it's unique in today's times, I think. And I thank those that are here from the legislature and of course the governor as well, and making these kinds of things happen. Thank you for that. So my name is Troy Tabor. I am on the city council. I've been here for more than a decade. Actually, I'm the oldest person as far as number of years on the city council now, which is interesting. I'm also on the Wichita Area Metropolitan Planning Organization, so WAMPO for short, and I'll try never to say the long word again. That is a regional initiative that puts together local cities, states, or city and county, as well as the state, to work on regionally significant projects. There's 23 different voting entities in there, and we work to do things like what we're doing with Highway 54 today. It's 2 decades or more than 2 decades in process to get to where we're at today, to see these projects come to fruition. And it's a lot of work from the WAMPO staff and those that are voting members to get to where we're at. Also, I'm on the Regional Economic Area Partnership, known as REAP, and it's another group of pretty exceptional city leaders that are helping make things happen for the region, and also a blueprint for things to make things better throughout our state and others. Recently, I took on a role at Wichita State University as a director for the Center of Entrepreneurship. It's a blessing to be a part of that and to see what's happening in Kansas, all across Kansas, let alone in Wichita. Things that the entrepreneurship scene is pretty exceptional, and programming that is coming through the BIL, the Bipartisan Infrastructure Law, which is the latest federal bill, will help Kansans, especially those that are looking to create resiliency, new jobs, and infrastructure to be able to do so. And that's something that hasn't been there before. It's wonderful to be a part of that. Well, I would be remiss if I didn't mention the tornado that had come through. It was a pretty devastating sight to see. I think everyone in the world's seen it in 20 different ways. But we are very lucky as well. No one was significantly hurt from it. No one died from it, which is quite a different story from what happened before. As well as we had a regional group or a team that was put together because of what had happened there, as well as in Greensburg and other events. And it worked. We had a regional response team, and instantly we had individuals that had special vehicles, or we had companies, or we had the local cities, Wichita and the counties, all responded instantly. They were here for support. They brought food, they brought help, they brought management and planning, and we were able to pull off recovery to these poor people whose homes were devastated in this right away. We're still working on it, and there's always lessons to learn, but it's something that we've done well, I think, in this state, and I hope that we continue to grow on that and make it even better. We are very thankful as well for the governor and Pete and other elected officials around the state that showed up to show support, to bring support. That's something that I think all of us in Andover, I'm trying not to tear up a little bit, I think, but all of us in Andover very much appreciate that. And it was emotional time. So thank you for showing up and helping us with that. So now to the 54 project that I'm here to talk about. This is something I had mentioned, it's been decades in the making. It is an exceptional, over the top, wonderful event for the city of Andover. It'll help in so many ways to help with safety. For example, when the tornado happened and we needed to get emergency equipment across the highway, when this project is fully complete, we won't have to stop and worry about fast traffic coming in. It'll make it a lot more safe this way without queuing up hundreds of cars at stoplights every day during high traffic. It'll help with green initiatives. It'll help with the environment, and it'll help with the resiliency of Kansas as a whole, as well as get our goods and services that we make right here in Kansas in and out much quicker. The regional growth that this will provide and will help us with, it'll reach all the way east to Augusta and beyond, north and south. This type of a project is one of the game changers that allows more industry to be created outside of just downtown or the sides of Wichita, but beyond. So it is truly a regional play. And this is just one of dozens of these types of projects that are being worked on in the states. Again, we think the legislature and the forward thinking of the governor and how this is coming along. So I guess that's it for me. I didn't have a large book of stuff to read, but I do appreciate everyone that's here. I see a lot of familiar faces and a few unfamiliar ones, and you're all here to see what's going on in Andover, Kansas. We appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Troy. You know, one of the things I love about this East Kellogg project is it may only span 2 miles, but you have multiple cities and counties supporting it because of the value to the region. And our next speaker, well, he really understands the value of making regional investments and working regionally. And I am convinced that you are part of the reason that the South Central Coalition works so well together and collaborates with us so well. So please welcome Sedgwick County Commissioner Pete Meitzner.
Well, following Julie is a tough thing to follow, but I can't thank her enough. You heard what she says and how powerful she is, and that's how she leads. She's done a fantastic job, and she is the face of KDOT. I know she's got a lot of staff that help get it to the finish line, but she has been a tremendous asset for our state, and she presents well, And I think name, image, and likeness, I think NIL should add some salary to her bonus. And she'll do just fine. She doesn't know what NIL stands for. That's all right. Anyway, thank you all for letting me say a few words. I'm on the Sedgwick County Commission. I'd like to recognize the mayor and Vandover and a couple of fellow council members. And we've got a commissioner from Butler County here. We got Senate President Ty Masterson. Susan, welcome. Who else am I missing? There's a chair of our, or the executive director of WAMPO. And I miss anybody else? I'm not sure. And oh, Governor, thanks for letting me be a part of this.
Man, come on.
Okay, well, save the best to last. Okay. Anyway, this regional stuff that they're talking about, I think I was asked if I could just share the briefest of story about Kellogg had not been worked on in about 25 years, Brett, something like that, or more. And elevated about 7 years ago was the intersection of Webb Road and Kellogg was the largest traffic congestion count by far. I think it was 40,000 cars a day, something like that, versus the next highest in the area was like 25,000. And then with that came accidents and things like that. And so under the old rules, we did a plan to expand and let's take, let's do a tunnel or whatever under, let's fix that intersection for that mile. And so Rock Road past that. We thought all us experts, I wasn't one of them, I'm not the engineer, but they said this would probably be about $103 million, something like that, to do that. And because some of us have wonderful partners with our local business people and the community and the construction people and supplies and all that stuff, they were coming at us saying, you're not going to get a bid less than 125 million on this. And we're the government. Oh no, we'll get something done. Well, sure enough, the bids came in. The low bid was like 129 million. So thanks to Mark Hutton at the time was the chair of Turnpike Authority and the KDOT secretary at the time. We all got together and with a lot of people and said, let's see if we can redo this. And so we got together, redesigned it, used the expert advice from people that do this stuff, which is exactly what Julie's been doing for her tenure. So we rebid it. I think it was about 104 or 5 million estimate at the time. Well, the low bid came in at 89 million. So we saved $30+ million just by us all working together. And then on top of that, we said, well, if we do that, and it was going to be 5 years of construction, and then we're going to have to take a break because the city was having to use some of their 1 cent sales tax. And then we're going to do the next phase, which is Greenwich Road, at another 4 or 5 years. This was going to be about a 10-year plan, which maybe in terms of Kellogg was not that long, but it was long. So we said, well, thanks to KDOT and the state, let us bid right after that, the Greenwich Road. And what we did there, again, estimated about 110 million. That bid came in at about 90 million. And what happened was, you can imagine, so the dirt that they were using from Webb Road, and they could go make the bridges on Greenwich Road and use same sources, all that stuff. So we collapsed that project to where it ends right now into about a 5-year, a total 4 to 5 or just over 5-year plan, and saved taxpayers $50+ million. That has not been talked about much, but that's what happens when we all work together, which is what's going on this project. So it's and the other side thing is, I remember there was this little company called Costco that was trying to come to the Wichita area, and they were deciding on a few places, and they said, we're going to go. We bought the stuff from Beechcraft or from Textron. we're going to go at the corner of Webb and Kellogg. And I'm meeting with the officials from Costco. They're out of, where are they out of Montana or Idaho somewhere. Anyway, they were in town and I said, you know that if you're going to go there, when you open, will be about the same day we're going to ground break for about 4 years of construction at that corner. They said, you know what, we believe in this area. This is where we're going to go. We'll struggle through that construction. And they have been a business partner supreme. They were, thanks to the KDOT people and everybody communicating with them. So those are just the kind of things that are really fun, positive stories for our community. And I believe as you look at the state, as I was looking at this a little bit, I hear off and on that there's a little jealousy going on in other parts of the state. Probably rightfully so, that this area is getting a lot of attention. Well, it's getting a lot of attention because government, business, education, nonprofits, for-profits are all on the same page singing, this is our main project we need to do. It's an easy story. And I think we're done. I just want to congratulate the whole group for this. And so with that, I will depart. Okay.
All right.
Thanks, Julie.
Pete's always got good stories. And we'll leave it at that. All right. So today's announcement wouldn't be possible without our next speaker's unwavering commitment to make sure all dollars designated for transportation are spent on transportation infrastructure. And as a side note, just because I love saying it every time we're together, like this one, she loves in December to go off for 10 days and work on budgets. I mean, the detail is incredible. And really, I think we all benefit from that attention to putting a budget together, because it would not be my strength at all. But because of her support and leadership, and because the legislature has been working together to pass those budgets in a way that really keep transportation dollars flowing to transportation. Thank you. It's a great state. It's a great day for transportation here in Andover and across the state. And for that, I'm very, very thankful and happy to welcome Governor Kelly to speak.
Thank you, Julie. You do bring up my nerdiness on a regular basis. And I thought I was alone, but after listening to the commissioner, I think I found a soulmate who is just as nerdy and is just a policy wonk as I am. So anyway, I want to thank all of you for being here to celebrate what many Kansans across the state have worked so hard to bring to fruition. I am pleased to announce the second round of Kansas highway projects moving from the development to the construction pipeline as part of my administration's 10-year, $10 billion Eisenhower Legacy Transportation Program we all know and love as IKE. A mere 3.5 months ago, I was here in Andover under the circumstances that were so well described. I surveyed the destruction caused by the tornado that tore through this city, and I met with families and city officials who were picking up the pieces left in its wake. My administration did quickly commit state resources and engage with local leaders to accelerate response efforts. That we're back in Andover to announce a significant investment in this community's and the state's future is testament to Kansans' determination to rebuild stronger than ever. Today's announcement is a significant part of how we are continuing to build and grow in this state. These 11 highway modernization and expansion projects moving into the construction pipeline represent a $520 million investment, over $500 million going towards making our highways stronger and safer for Kansas drivers. And that's just this year. When combined with the first round of IKE construction pipeline projects, it's part of a nearly $1.3 billion commitment from my administration to make our highways add to, not detract from, our communities. Each of these projects is worthy of praise, but given that I'm in Andover, I want to talk about how this round of investments will impact this area. For far too long, as you all so well know, going east from Butler County has been a headache. too much traffic, too many stops and starts that were endlessly frustrating. This project will solve those issues. At $230 million, the expansion of Kellogg to east of 159th Street in Andover is the most robust of this latest round of projects. It's the largest in terms of scope and size, and it will make a huge difference for everyday commuters. And the reason I know that is because during KDOT's local council discussions in Wichita, we heard from residents that this project was the highest priority for them. We spoke, we listened, and now we're delivering. Local partnerships have been crucial to getting this project to the next stage. Both the cities of Wichita and Andover, and both counties, Sedgwick and Butler, have committed resources and funds that make this progress possible. In fact, all the projects we're announcing today either have local contributions or were made possible by the community working with KDOT to find more cost-effective approaches. So it's not just Andover that's winning today. 10 other communities spread over both urban and rural parts of our state are seeing projects move to the next stage in today's pipeline announcements. These investments will improve roadway safety, create good jobs, and deliver more economic opportunities long into the future. That's especially true for the projects in our rural areas. Highways are how rural Kansans and businesses connect with the rest of the world. So I'm hoping today's announcement will mean a lot to them. With that, let's get to what you've all been waiting for. Beyond Andover, the projects moving to the next stage in the pipeline include Douglas County, converting South Lawrence Trafficway to 4 lanes and construct new interchange at Wakarusa Drive along K-10 from north of the US 40 junction to US 59. In Ellis County, replacing a bridge at US 183 and I-70 interchange. Franklin County, replacing an aging bridge over I-35 and modernizing the connection roadway on K-33. Erie County, improving the interchange at K-18 and I-70. Miami County, expanding K-68 between US 169 and US 69 at Lewisburg. Morris County, modernizing K-177 by replacing 2 aging bridges. Osborne County, reconstructing and replacing a bridge on US 281. Saline County, reconstructing K4 to include a bridge redeck and culvert replacement. Sheridan County, modernizing K23 by replacing 2 aging bridges. And Wabunsee County, reconstructing and adding turn lanes at the I-70 ramps on K99. Congratulations to all. You're not only making your community stronger for today, but for generations to come. I'm looking forward to returning to Andover time and again in the future on a smoother, safer, more expanded highway. Thank you.
Well, thank you all for being here today, those in person and online. I want to remind you that in the fall of 2023, KDOT will be back out again for local consult to hear more input on projects and project needs. So we look forward to seeing everybody in the fall of 23. In the meantime, that concludes the announcements. Congratulations to the projects that we'll be moving forward with into construction. And with that, I think we'll move over here for a couple of pictures and we're available for media. All right, thanks everybody, and be safe. Buckle up going home.